The slides are ready. The room goes quiet. All eyes turn to you, and your manager says, "Okay, take it away." You open your mouth, and the first sentence just will not come. Or worse, you start reading your slides word for word in a flat, nervous voice. Here is the truth. A great presentation is not fancy English. It is clear structure. Today, 12 phrases to open strong, guide your audience, and recap with confidence. From hello to any questions? Someone told me, I memorized my whole presentation, every single word. I felt ready. Then one person asked a question in the middle. I lost my place, my script was gone, and I just froze. If that fear is yours too, here is the good news. Your audience is not grading your grammar, they just want to follow you. Give them clear signposts and a simple structure, and even nervous English sounds confident. Here is what happens in your head. You think you must sound advanced, fluent, impressive. But your audience needs only one thing, to always know where they are and where you are going. Think about the best talk you ever heard. Was it the vocabulary, or was it easy to follow? It was clear. You never felt lost. That is what good signposting does. So the goal is not perfect English. The goal is a path your audience can follow. And here is the rule that changes everything. Do not present the content. Guide the audience. You are the map. Tell them where you start, when you turn, and where you land. 3 parts. Open strong, signpost the journey, and recap to close. 12 phrases, 4 for each part. Simple, repeatable, ready for your next meeting. Say them out loud with me. You will use these in updates and demos too. Phrase 1. The opener. Welcome them and say what is coming.
Thanks for joining. Today, I'll walk you through our new plan.
For example,
Thanks for joining, everyone. Today, I'll walk you through our new plan for next quarter.
warm, clear, and it tells them exactly what to expect. Now you try.
Thanks for joining. Today, I'll walk you through our new plan.
One more time.
Thanks for joining. Today, I'll walk you through our new plan.
Phrase 2. The promise. Tell them what they will know by the end.
By the end, you'll know exactly what changes and why.
For example,
By the end, you'll know exactly what changes, why, and what we need from you.
now they have a reason to listen. Say it with me.
By the end, you'll know exactly what changes and why.
Again.
By the end, you'll know exactly what changes and why.
Phrase 3. Set the rules. Short and time for questions.
I'll keep it short and leave plenty of time for questions.
For example,
I'll keep it short, about 10 minutes, and leave plenty of time for questions.
people relax the moment they hear this. Now you, out loud.
I'll keep it short and leave plenty of time for questions.
One more time.
I'll keep it short and leave plenty of time for questions.
Phrase 4. Launch your first point with the big picture.
Let me start with the big picture.
For example,
Let me start with the big picture, and then we'll get into the details.
you give them the frame before the details. Say it with me.
Let me start with the big picture.
Again.
Let me start with the big picture.
Phrase 5. Now signpost. Mark the first step of the journey.
First, let's look at where we are today.
For example,
First, let's look at where we are today before we talk about the change.
first, that one word tells them the journey has started. Now you try.
First, let's look at where we are today.
One more time.
First, let's look at where we are today.
Phrase 6, the transition. Turn smoothly to your next point.
That brings me to my next point.
For example,
And that brings me to my next point. The cost.
a clean bridge so nobody gets lost between slides. Say it with me
That brings me to my next point.
again.
That brings me to my next point.
Phrase 7, point them to the slide so their eyes follow you.
As you can see on this slide, the numbers are clear.
For example,
As you can see on this slide, sales went up every single month.
you guide their attention instead of hoping they look. Now you try.
As you can see on this slide, the numbers are clear.
One more time.
As you can see on this slide, the numbers are clear.
Phrase 8, the spotlight. Tell them what really matters.
The key thing to remember here is simple.
For example,
The key thing to remember here is simple. This saves us 2 days every week.
you tell them what to keep, so they keep the right thing. Say it with me
The key thing to remember here is simple.
again.
The key thing to remember here is simple.
Phrase 9, now land it. Handle a question without losing your place.
That's a great question. Can I come back to it at the end?
For example,
That's a great question. Can I come back to it at the end so I keep the flow?
you stay in control and the question still gets respected. Now you try.
That's a great question. Can I come back to it at the end?
One more time.
That's a great question. Can I come back to it at the end?
Phrase 10, the recap. Pull the main points back together.
So, to recap the 3 main points.
For example,
To recap the 3 main points: new plan, lower cost, and a faster launch.
repetition is not boring. It is how people remember. Say it with me
To recap the 3 main points.
again.
To recap the 3 main points.
Phrase 11, the takeaway. One sentence they should carry out the door.
The one thing I want you to remember is this.
For example,
If you forget everything else, the one thing I want you to remember is this. We start Monday.
you choose what stays in their head instead of leaving it to chance. Now you try.
The one thing I want you to remember is this.
One more time.
The one thing I want you to remember is this.
And phrase 12, the master move. Close clean and open the floor.
Thank you. I'd be happy to take any questions.
For example,
Thank you all for your time. I'd be happy to take any questions now.
confident, warm, and it tells them the talk is done. Say it with me
Thank you. I'd be happy to take any questions.
again.
Thank you. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Now let us put it together. A 2-minute update, start to finish. You open.
Thanks for joining. Today, I'll walk you through our new plan. By the end, you'll know exactly what changes and why.
Then you guide them. You signpost.
First, let's look at where we are today. That brings me to my next point. And the key thing to remember here is simple.
Clear path, no one lost. Then you close. You recap.
So, to recap the 3 main points, the one thing I want you to remember is this. Thank you. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Open, signpost, recap. That is a confident presentation. One last thing. The biggest mistake is reading your slides word for word in a flat voice. The slide already has the words. They do not need you to read them. Use the slide as a sign, not a script. Say the signpost out loud, then add the one thing the slide cannot say. So now you have the whole talk. Open strong, signpost the journey, and recap to close. 12 phrases, 3 simple parts. And remember the rule. Do not present the content. Guide the audience. Reading them once is not enough. Say them out loud, standing up, until they feel natural. And here is the real secret. The slides are the easy part. The hard part is the live moment after, when someone asks a question and you have to answer on the spot. To be ready for that, you have to practice speaking out loud, with something that asks you questions and keeps the conversation moving. So here is your task. Take your next update and write your open, your signposts, and your recap. Then say it out loud, standing up. Then come back because next time, your boss asks for one more thing on an impossible deadline, and we will learn how to say no, politely, without burning the relationship. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.